Welcome to another Bible study with me. I am Loath, and I am going to get started. I'm reading Genesis chapter 6. If you haven't seen my other videos, that's perfectly fine. We can pick up basically from wherever, but I will be occasionally referring back to the previous verses. You can either watch them or read on your own if you wish to. Anyways, without further ado, let's get started. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. So I'm kind of curious already, who the heck are the sons of God in this scripture? Let's just read on for now. Just finish these first 5 verses before I switch over to the other book to see what it says. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Alright, let's read that again, but in the New American Standard Version. Now it came about when man began to multiply in the face of the land, and daughters were born to them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men were beautiful, and they took wives for themselves whomever they chose. Then the Lord said, My spirit shall not strive with man forever, because he is also flesh. Nevertheless, his days shall be 120 years. And Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. Those were the mighty men who were of old, men of renown. Then the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great on the earth, and that every intent of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. So thinking about that same line that I questioned earlier, which is, the sons of God saw the daughters of men. Who the heck the sons of God were? Potentially those were fallen angels, because I don't know how else Nephilims come about, or maybe they're already there. I don't think they're already there, honestly. I have many questions on this part. I don't exactly know where half these things came from, but I guess it's not something we actually need to know, because it's not written, but I certainly am curious. I would like to have answers. I would like to have a lot of answers, but I'm a nitpicky person sometimes, and there are things that I just really wish to know that I know that I'm not allowed to know, or it's not important to actually know, but I still would like to know. Anyways, moving on from that rabbit hole that I will be digging myself into if I don't stop now. The next part that I would like to address, verse 5, And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. That would suck to live in. Honestly, just imagine being alive today and it's just worse and everyone just constantly does nothing but terrible things. I feel like we're getting there at some point though. Place is crazy right now, but things are just getting crazier, so maybe we'll get to that point, but hopefully not. That would be terrifying. And if we do get to that point, I hope I'm not alive when that happens. Anyways, I will continue reading. Verse 6 now. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man, whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man, and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with God. And Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And earth also was corrupted before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. So I find it interesting that in verse 7, the Lord regrets creating everything, which you do understand. I am fairly certain a number of people can relate to making something and it not working out and just getting rid of it. Cain certainly didn't work out, and everyone in his bloodline definitely didn't work out. They were killing young boys just because they were a mild irritation upon them. They are weak-willed and doing whatever the heck they wanted. God was so fed up with it all, I think. Now, this is just speculation, but I might be right. But I think in verse 3 where it says, "And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he is also flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. This is where humans will no longer live to the hundreds of years. At this point, Noah is, 500 years old when he had Shem, Ham, and Japheth? Seems to be the case in verse 32 of Genesis, chapter 5. I'll have to keep track of the ages if they mention them further in from here, but I'd like to wager that they stop having insane ages from this point. And as it currently stands, with all our advances in medicine and technology, we have maxed out at about 122 or 123 years so far. Could be a coincidence, but as I am a Christian, I think not, even if I may sound delusional to some people. And maybe it's around this time. This is also speculation, by the way. But he also doesn't really want to be around people that much. And by people, I mean man, because they're just doing terrible stuff. Which I also don't blame him for that. Anyways, back on track. Noah and the generations before him have been following God since the beginning, even though everyone else has been doing pretty terribly. Being that we have giants, which I am going to speculate are maybe fallen angels. I'll be honest, I hope they are, because a time in a world where monsters existed, such as Nephilims, would be so cool. I won't deny it. I'm that kind of guy. I mean, they could be abnormally sized people or be literal giants, but what I think is cooler. But I don't know for sure. I can only hope. Anyways, I'm also speculating this is the time frame where people like the Goliath that is killed by David in that story with the sling. I'm guessing this might be the time frame where he comes from, or at least the bloodlines. I'm not really sure. We are too far ahead right now. That story isn't until much, much later. If anyone has any thoughts or opinions on this, please feel free to comment, as I'd love to hear one's thoughts and engage in a conversation. But right now, we are at the world being so bad that God wishes to do something about all this evilness in the world. So I will continue reading. And God said unto Noah, The end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make thee an ark of gopher wood, runes shalt thou make in the ark, and shalt pitch it within, and without with pitch. And this is the fashion that thou shalt make it of. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits. A window shalt thou make it to the ark, and in a cubit shalt thou finish it above. And the door of the ark shalt thou set in the side thereof. With lower, second, and third stories shalt thou make it. And behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth, and destroy all flesh, wherein is the breath of life from under heaven, and everything that is in the earth shall die. But with thee will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come unto the ark, thou and thy sons, and thy wife and thy sons' wives with thee. So I'm sure some people are curious what a cubit is in size. From what I understand of cubit, it actually translates to elbow. So basically, from your elbow to your fingertip would be 1 cubit. So with the fact that the ark is to be 300 cubits long, and the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits. So from what I understand in modern terms, that is approximately 510 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet high, which is pretty tall. That is in length. That is longer than a decent chunk of skyscrapers are in modern times. I'm not sure what a good height comparison is, but I guess like a good way is like a 3 or 4-story tall building would be a good physical comparison on that. So it's pretty big, because the Ark is not really designed to sail or anything, it's just designed to float and preserve life. So, pretty high storage, you're literally not sailing anywhere, but you're certainly floating for a long time in something designed like that. Although I can't say I know too much more about the specifics of that. But the Ark was always a very interesting topic. Anyways, I will continue reading. And behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth, to destroy all flesh, wherein is the breath of life from under heaven, and everything that is in the earth shall die. But with the will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons and thy wife and thy sons' wives with thee. And of every living thing of all flesh, 2 of every sort, shalt thou bring into the ark, to keep them alive with thee. They shall be male and female. Of fowls after their kind, and of cattle after their kind, of every creeping thing of the earth after his kind, 2 of every sort shall come unto thee, to keep them alive. And take thou unto thee of all fond that is eaten, and thou shalt gather it to thee, and it shall be for food, for thee and for them. And thus did Noah according to all that God commanded him, so he did. So I find this chapter not too hard to understand, and before anyone mentions it, in the case of the New American Standard, I do realize we're in place of giants. It does say Nephilim, but as I said, the King James Version is much more accurate. It's just the New American Standard is the most accurate in regards to translation to our current day understanding, but I think it is speculative to say that giants are Nephilims, because those are 2 very different things. And according to what I could find online, it's just a speculation that it's Nephilims. So I'm not going to advertise that this is accurate and this is accurately Nephilims, just to justify what I wish it to be. So, just putting that out there. Thank you for coming to my Bible study of chapter 6 of Genesis. Remember, God loves you, I love you, and take care. Until we meet again.